We're here with Mike Hill, the Labour Party candidate, hoping to be re-elected in this next coming parliamentary election on December the 12th. Mr. Hill, thank you so much for your time, as always.
No problem, Pam.
When we announced that you had kindly agreed to give us another interview, our email was just bombarded with viewers' questions. So this is kind of like a compilation of the most asked. But firstly, what made you decide to run again, and how will the next 3 years, if you're elected, be different for them last?
What made me decide to run again was the same passion that I had in 2017, only 2 years ago, to be the town MP, to be an ambassador for Hartlepool in Westminster, and that still drives me.
Well, even though it's a tough time to be a politician.
Even though it's a tough time to be a politician, yeah, and even though I share the frustrations of everybody around the B word, you know, the big issue.
I know, and that actually was the most frequent question we asked, and there was a strong feeling by many that you voted against measures, whether with an agreement or with a deal or without a deal, and that you put, that would have got us out the EU, but that you put the Labour Party first and the people of Hartlepool second. How would you respond to those people?
I would respond to the people who said to me, you voted this way and that way, to actually look at the voting record. Yes, of course I voted with the Labour Party against some measures, like Theresa May's deal, which was consistently put to Parliament and hated on both sides of the House of Commons, Tory and Labour, but equally so, viewers will know that when it came to the final shove, I was one of the 30-odd Labour MPs who tried to get the ball over the line, to get Boris Johnson's deal into second reading, so that we can actually look at some of the amendments that were coming through. We can get progress. We can try and get it over the line.
People like Dennis Skinner and Frank Field, they consistently went against the whip. Did you not feel as though you could do that?
Every single vote, every single nuance, every single twist, I carefully considered. I listened to what was coming up from the ground in Hartlepool, and I consulted my constituency Labour Party at every single turn. So I considered which way to go very, very, very deliberately and measured, and I believe that Hartlepool constituency Labour Party is about the only CLP that actually passed a motion supporting the MP's position on Brexit, which
but we don't know how many of them remain or leave, do we, though?
Of the constituency Labour Party.
So because 7 out of 10 people in the town are leave.
Yeah.
Let's just get us out.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but I've always been clear and plain in everything that I've done, in every media outlet that I've spoken to, that that's my direction of travel, but I've always been clear that I'm against no deal Brexit because of its economic impact on the community, on industry and on local businesses and jobs.
Okay, a while ago, one of our viewers suggested that we produce a video to explain the difference between local elections and general elections, and it's a great idea. We just haven't had enough time to do it yet.
It'd be a really good idea because people do get confused.
They're totally confused on the doorstep, no question about it. But this upcoming election is a general election.
Yeah.
It's where whoever the majority party is decide the policy of Britain.
Yeah.
Why do you think the Labour Party has adopted a policy of open immigration when infrastructure, particularly jobs, schools, hospital beds, and so on, are so stressed already? Why an open door? Everybody can just come in.
I wouldn't call it an open door policy. I'd certainly wait to see what the text of the policy is tomorrow when all our manifesto comes out.
It's been on the news quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not been given in detail. It's not been printed in detail. It won't be out until tomorrow.
I think Jeremy Corbyn's made himself pretty clear on that, though. I mean, it's one of the few things he has been clear on.
The aspiration is to not snag free movement, but obviously, in my opinion, regulation of free movement has to be there. But if you think on about the nursing shortage in our local hospital, doctor shortage in our local hospital, of course we have to find people from further afield. That's been the practice for years. And I don't want to restrict or restrain that. And equally so, I would like the opportunity for my children, my sons, to be able to go work abroad in a free sense as well.
I know, but you supported the workers for so long. You from Manchester, you were in Newcastle for ages with Unison supporting the workers. Do you not think just open immigration stops jobs from local people?
Personally, I think that it's sensible to actually look at something along the lines of an Australian type policy, so that we can actually have the type of skills brought in that we absolutely need, and we do need them. We do need
yeah,
those
but that's
skills.
not what Mr. Corbyn's proposing.
Well, I'm waiting for the actual text of the manifesto to come out on Thursday.
Okay, and on that, Hartlepool Borough Council recently announced they're finally building council houses again, which is great news, isn't it?
Yeah.
If Labour became the ruling party, Diane Abbott would be the Home Secretary, and she's quoted as saying, "It's simply unacceptable in 21st century Britain that refugees are placed in such disgraceful housing conditions." If Labour got into power, how worried should the people of Hartlepool be that council houses will go to refugees and immigrants and not people of the town?
I think they'd be more worried if the Conservatives were kept in power, because the Conservatives have shifted the asylum seeker population away from the southern cities and into the north, and predominantly in areas like the Tees Valley. Significant numbers into Middlesbrough, for example, where they are put into housing, which has been considered to be at times substandard. They've been moved on into other accommodation with a different company that runs the contract on behalf of the government, the Home Office. But no, building council homes, as you call it, is a significant step forward, and I congratulate the council for that. But they are homes for local people. They're not even starter homes. They are homes for rent for local people, owned by the local authority, and that can only be a good thing.
You've been very, very supportive of the WASPI women. That's the Women Against State Pension Injustice. Yeah, which affects most women in the town and in the country who are aged over 55, because they no longer retire at 60 anymore, and that's a big leap. In fact, we've bumped into each other several times at WASPI women events. Now, the Hartlepool branch of the WASPI women went down to the Labour Party conference. They were very well received, but when the Labour Party produced its list of the first 50 things that they would do when they got into office, the WASPI women didn't even make the list. Why would Labour put like free Wi-Fi before this social injustice?
We're not putting free Wi-Fi before that. That was just an announcement that came out. The WASPI women feature centrally in our campaign.
But they weren't on the list, though.
Well, watch out for the manifesto on Thursday.
Okay. All right, we'll wait and see.
I have to say, Pam, on that front, I congratulate the Hartlepool WASPI women for establishing their own branch last year, which was very, very important.
They've been very active.
To go to that. They've been extremely active. They've been up and down to London more times than I've had hot dinners, and all over the country as well. So, you know, I do take my hat off to them. They are real trailblazers here in Hartlepool.
Emails we've received from residents.
Okay.
John Thomas, chairman of the Leicester East constituency Labour Party, has just resigned from the Labour Party. Talking about his decision, and he says, and I quote, "It's a great disappointment to me, realising that I've spent over 30 years of my life working for a party I now know I have nothing in common with. This is not the party I joined." Certainly our mailbag would reflect his sentiments, and even hardened Labour supporters who've supported Labour all their life feel very disenchanted with the party. What offer of comfort could you give to them?
Well, other than that, the Labour Party has got the largest support of any political party across Europe, largest membership. It's a broad church, and there are differences of opinion. I don't know about the case that you're talking about, or his detailed reasons for stepping down. However, all I can say is that, going back to your point about local and national politics, certainly in this general election, the Labour Party candidate is a candidate who is dedicated to the constituency and has always fought for the constituency in Westminster. So that's the kind of Labour person Hartlepool will be getting if they return me in the general election.
Did you watch the debate last night?
I watched the back end of it because I was out in
canvassing.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
In the freezing cold.
Yeah, I know it was a cold night last night. Jeremy Corbyn wasn't really too sure that they're going to go for the best deal possible if they come into power. They're going to go for the best deal possible, and then give the country an option whether to remain or go for the best deal. He couldn't answer the question whether would he go for the best deal or would he go to remain. What's your answer to it?
My answer to that is in line with the opinion of my constituencies. We got to get, well, to paraphrase the Prime Minister, got to get Brexit done. I'm against a no-deal Brexit, so I'm in favour of a deal, so I will support a deal, and I'm confident that the Labour Party can deliver on the deal because they've already been in Europe negotiating.
So why not just go for the deal? Why hand it out to a referendum again? Because it's everybody's kind of...
Well, because we're a broad church, so in terms of differences of opinion, that will always be there in the Labour Party, as it is in any other party. But the kind of deal that I'm sure Labour will be able to negotiate will tick all the boxes for me, and there will be no reason whatsoever why people wouldn't support that deal. If people do truly want to get out of the EU, like the people of Hartlepool do,
they absolutely
do, then let's stick to that time limit. And if there is to be some kind of public vote, let's look at the wording very, very carefully, but let's tick that box for a Labour deal and let's get it over.
And finally, what do you put down for the last 3 years as Hartlepool MP? What's your greatest achievement and disappointment?
Every single case that we've been successful in, and there's been many individual cases, is a great achievement for myself, my staff and the individuals concerned, and believe you me, we have saved many lives. Working hard to bring industry into Hartlepool and jobs into Hartlepool has always been a passion of mine, and we have started seeing growth in that respect. But most importantly, the NHS. Maintaining and stabilising services at the hospital has been a priority for me, and we fought many a battle, the most recent one being over the maternity unit, and there was also the fight over the sale of the land for housing.
I know, but I mean, if you've been round the doorstep, healthcare is still the number one issue.
Of course it's the number one issue.
No hospital is
Of course it's the number one issue.
It's number one.
Of course it's the number one issue. So my mission has been to try and stabilise that hospital, and I believe that I've worked hard in doing that, to keep the NHS on the agenda in Hartlepool, to push for services to go back into that hospital, and to push for greater, and it's just round the corner, we will get it, greater social care offers in Hartlepool. There are some good imaginative ideas that people have got, and we're looking to focus on that going forward. But certainly not on my watch will we see that hospital die.
Whatever the outcome of the election, you've never flinched from giving us an interview.
No.
And for that, we thank you so much.
Company.
We appreciate it very much indeed.
Yeah.
So far, no response from the Social Labour Party candidate, but we've got interviews with Andy Hagan, Joe Boosfield and Stephen Houghton coming up later on this week. So stay tuned. Please like and follow Hartlepool TV on Facebook and YouTube.